I'm sure all of you are aware of the major story that's been going on over the last few weeks dealing with this Titan submarine, this submersible basically that was going down to see the Titanic. And as we knew in the very beginning, it was an exploration headed by kind of a shady company, a lot of vague details going on there. You obviously had this crew of people that were clearly rich, paying over $250,000 a seat just to sit on a very, very small a submersible that was going to go down to see the Titanic in person because apparently they thought that that was going to be an extremely important thing for them to do. Now, of course, we all knew that this was going on. It made a bunch of headlines. And as of about a week or a few days ago, we found out, of course, that they found pieces and remains of the actual submersible that had floated to shore. And now we have confirmation that they also found what are presumed to be human remains. So this is a kind of a confirmation that this was a major incident, of course, and I know that the online reception has actually been pretty mixed, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of people say, hey, this is a crazy tragedy. But at the same time, if you go to Facebook, go to Twitter, you're going to see a lot of people kind of making jokes of all of this because we all know that it basically took a bunch of people with a bunch of money, but at the same time, they didn't have much common sense to do something like this, especially as more details become relevant. So at least getting into this story, like I said, they have found at least what they believe are the remains from the wreckage of this submersible. So the Coast Guard said that they will be transporting the evidence aboard the U.S. Coast Guard cutter to a port in the United States where the NBI will be able to facilitate further analysis and testing. So we'll see what's going on there. And then the chair captain, Jason Neubauer, said, I am grateful for the coordinated international and interagency support to recover and preserve this vital evidence at extreme offshore distances and depths. I mean, and that's what's crazy and impressive to me about all of this really is the fact that they were able to find all of these pieces in the middle of the ocean. I mean, the actual wreckage, I think, was found like 1,600 feet away from where the actual submersible went down at. So it's crazy that you can kind of scour that amount of area on water and actually find something. So it goes on to say this evidence will provide investigators from several international jurisdictions with critical insights into the cause of this tragedy. There is still a substantial amount of work that needs to be done to understand the factors that led to the catastrophic loss of the Titan and help ensure a similar tragedy does not occur in the future. And of course, that's the main goal. But at the same time, this of course would have never have happened if these people weren't trying to do this in the first place. If we didn't have a company that was basically allowing these people to go down in the submersible, knowing that it's very sketchy, knowing that there was a lot of risk. I mean, they all, of course, none of the families could sue, right? Because when they went down, they knew the risk that was involved in it. They signed off on it, right? So if we're able to, we can show a little bit of the footage behind this of them kind of pulling this out of the water. But the idea is that you have them finding these remains, them finding this wreckage, and the reality is that, of course, it's sad, it's tragic, it's still something where people died, and it's nothing to necessarily laugh at, but at the same time, it's kind of what was expected when you look at the details surrounding all of this. So, of course, this was involving tons of different people. You had the United States, Canada, France, the United Kingdom, all recovering debris apparently from the Titan in waters more than 2 miles deep and a quarter mile from the actual wreck of the Titan itself, or the Titanic. So you have all of this stuff spread around, multiple countries just all over the place trying to figure out what's going on here and finding evidence and trying to collect it all as a result of this. I mean, this was a worldwide, really an international story and an international search. So photographs were also released showing a little bit of the wreckage as well. And of course, that's gone viral on Twitter where you can check it out there. But a representative of the Coast Guard told the Wall Street Journal that sonar equipment detected the explosion. So the United States Navy conducted an analysis of the acoustic data and detected an anomaly consistent with an explosion or an implosion in the general vicinity of where the the Titan submersible was actually operating when communications were lost. So really, it just imploded. I mean, that's effectively what happened. So at that kind of pressure, I think there was a story that was talking about the idea that the amount of pressure that was on top of this vessel, right, when that far deep under the ocean, when you're almost 2.5 miles under the ocean like that, is equivalent to if the Eiffel Tower was made entirely out of lead. Okay, standing on top, right, of this little tiny pill-shaped submersible that they can't even get out of on their own without help from the outside. That's what was on top of them at that time. So I can imagine that the remains that are there are probably not much to go off of. I mean, at this point, that's all that's going to be there. It's just pieces of metal and dust, probably, as a result of that. So the actual tail cone of the Titan submersible was approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the sea floor. So there's still some more information coming in as well, and they're saying that the debris is in fact consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. So that's what happened, and so we'll kind of see as this story develops a little bit more. Maybe they can find out exactly, what that pressure level was. Were they able to maybe escape or something? I'm sure they can test the DNA, or I don't know. I mean, what really took place down there as a result? Did they run out of oxygen first? I'm sure they can find a way to figure that out. Or was it something where they kind of were still alive and then it imploded while they were still alive? There's going to be more scientific data that's going to have to be done to figure out the cause of all of this and what happened. I mean, the reality is this was a tragedy. And yet at the same time, it's a situation that we can kind of look at and say, hey, you know what? They kind of got what was coming to them. This is what happens when people have more money than brains, more money than common sense, going out there in this submersible trying to see that. And it kind of all comes full circle. I mean, as a result of this, I actually rewatched the Titanic again just because it was just interesting to me to just kind of see that movie. And it's kind of interesting to see in the beginning of that movie where the Titanic actually, or that movie, starts with them actually going underneath the water, trying to view the wreckage of the Titanic. So it is an interesting situation that's taking place there. But we'll keep following up with this story to kind of see what happens, checking to see where and how all of this really took place, all the timing and details, and what the true outcome is going to be at the end of the day. So with that being said, let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are on them finding this wreckage, this now what they believe are human remains as well from this. Let us know. Do you think that this was a bad idea to try to even go down there? Do you think it was a good idea? Like, what are your thoughts on it? Let us know, and the thoughts on them finding all the remains and everything. But we'll keep you updated on the status of this as well in the future, in future videos. But thank you for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.